Alright, welcome to today's Tech Talk Tuesday, and for today's discussion we're going to be talking about SRT-4 mounts. So, for starters, in case you didn't know, there are a total of 4 mounts on the SRT-4. There's a transmission mount, and there are 3 on the engine. There's a main motor mount, which is known as the 4th mount, which goes into the frame rail of the car, and then there are 2 anti-rotation mounts, one on the top and one at the bottom. Now, when I bought this SRT-4 about 3 years ago, I needed to replace the mounts on it. And of course, I'd read online about all the stigma about if you put solid mounts in, the car's gonna be shaking violently, and it's not gonna be any fun to drive. And so I didn't want to go with solid mounts, but at the same time, I knew the stock mounts just weren't sufficient. So there was another option that I found, and that was to put a energy suspension inserts into the stock mounts. I found out quickly, that's a bad idea. So, as you can see from mine, they don't stay in there very well. So, part of that may be the way I install them, and part of it's just the design is just not the greatest, but either way, that wasn't the great way to go. And I only had them on there for probably a few months. Now, another option you can do is I've heard that people get poly material and they fill the stock mounts, and it gives you another option. So, that's not the route I went when I decided to replace the stock mounts with the inserts. I decided to go with Torque Solutions solid mounts. And let me tell you, it's a brilliant way to go. I mean, the added vibration was negligible, but they work so well, they're totally worth it. But if you're gonna do them, you need to replace both the upper and lower rotation mount, as well as the transmission mount. I had another friend with an SRT-4 that had just a solid upper anti-rotation mount, and he kept breaking bolts for the mounting, and he couldn't figure out for the life of him why they kept breaking. Well, come to find out, is because he didn't have the matching solid mount on the bottom, and as a result, it was shearing the bolts on the upper mount. So you need to replace both the upper and the lower anti-rotation mounts at the same time, not just one of them. And then also you're going to want to replace the transmission mount at the same time, just get them all out of the way. Now, one thing I wish I had known at the time was I didn't realize when I was replacing these mounts that there was the 4th mount. And so when I got to the point and I had the engine up, so I get the timing belt out, I discovered that 4th mount, and of course, being the original mount and having almost 200,000 miles on the car, it was due to be replaced. Now, if I had known this in advance, I would have ordered a solid mount from like Daryl Cox Racing and replaced it with that, but I didn't, and I didn't have the time to wait for one to ship out, so I got a stock replacement at my local auto parts store. So far, it's working out just fine, but ideally, if you're gonna go ahead and doing the timing belt on these, replace that mount at the same time and get a high quality one in advance. So those are my thoughts on the aftermarket motor mounts for your SRT-4. There's definitely huge improvements to going to the solid mounts. That does not add a ton of vibration to the car like some people out there believe. I still, even to this day, I'm reading on forums, if they're like, oh no, don't put solid mounts in because the car's gonna have so much vibration, it's gonna rattle the fillings out of your teeth and you're not gonna be able to see anything in your outside mirrors because it's just shaking so much. And it's just utter nonsense. I mean, I've been running the Torque Solutions solid mounts on this car for over 2.5 years at this point. No problems, no added vibrations. It's just been a great solution. Now, I have also discovered, since installing these, there's another option out there a couple manufacturers offer. I believe Daryl Cox Racing is one of them, where they put a new mount for an anti-rotation that goes from basically the bell housing and oil pan area of the motor and transmission, and they go and attach to the cross member of the engine cradle. That requires a bit of welding to weld a bracket onto the engine cradle, but supposedly it is a great way to reduce the rotation of the drivetrain, and you don't have to use the upper and lower rotation mounts anymore if you install this mount. I haven't seen a lot of information on how successful this is. It is a lot of work because then you got to go and start welding onto the engine cradle. It's probably not something I'll do to my car in the future, but at the same time, it is an option out there for those of you out there that are considering going that route. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Go ahead and put those in the comment section down below. I definitely read all of your comments. I'll also include some links in the description below to some of the different mount options, that way you can take a look at them. And as always, I hope you found this video useful and helpful. And if you did, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, give us a like. And if you don't want to miss a single one of my uploads, go ahead and smash that subscribe button down below and ring the notification bell as well, so that way YouTube keeps you notified of all the videos that I upload in the future. And I will see you in the next video.